Hey everybody. All right, I'm working on my wife's Lexus RX 330. It's a 2004. I couldn't find any videos online for how to replace the cable for the hatch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you kind of how I did it. First, there's some like quick release pry things that you got to remove from here. There's going to be one right here. There's this one right here, so this is what you're removing, and then there's another one right there. So there's 4 in total. You can pry them off. Typically they break if you pry them off, but once you get them out, this whole piece comes off. All right, and so now that that piece is off, we're going to want to get to the latch system. So you can take the latch off by, all right, so there are 2 screws right here. These screws I'm going to show you. All right, these 2 screws look like this. They're 10 millimeters. They screw in right here. So it's going to look like this when you open this up. It's going to have that right there, and it's going to have the other one right there. What you're going to do is you're going to take these screws off. And by taking those screws off, it removes this guard, which covers the latch mechanism from the interior. I slipped it off in between the horns, and I pulled it out this way, and then slide it under. So once you get that off, now you can see right here you've got the cable exposed. That's the latch cable. So you're going to want to take the latch system off. So it's going to be removing this bolt, that bolt, and then there's this bolt right here, which may not look like one. But what you're going to want to do, I'm going to try and do this with one hand. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to try and get a screwdriver in there. You're going to want to get a screwdriver in there. I'm going to show you in a second. I'm going to be right back. Alright, so once you pry that off with the screwdriver, so that's this piece, I did some damage to it, you're going to be exposing this other 10 millimeter bolt. So we're going to take off these 3 10 millimeter bolts, and that's going to release the hatch system, or the latch system, which you'll then be able to pull down and work more closely with. I'll show you that in a second. Alright, once those are off, you can see that the latch system is now pretty exposed, pretty open. We can pull it down like this. We can get to it in here. So now you got the whole latch. So typically if yours is broken, and you'll see later in this video, this is actually, I'm kind of doing this in reverse. I've already replaced it, but a lot of times if you have a broken latch, it's this piece right here breaks off. But if you're still trying to replace it and it's just stretched, you're going to want to pop that off right there. And then you're going to want to get this piece out from in here, which is going to be, if you look at it, it's going to be, you're going to lift it up and to the right, and it should come free. I'm going to do that right now. Okay, so I took the latch off completely. You don't have to, but it's just removing this at that point. So what you want to do is you want to get this free. So you're going to have the ball at the end here. This is going to be exposed, and then you're going to want to fish this line back and through the engine compartment. There's going to be one little clasp right here. You're going to be able to clip it with nail pliers, pull it down, and it's got a little, it holds the wire in place right here. Let's see if I can get a video of it. You'll see it right there, it's holding the wire. And then once you do that, the wire will be completely released in the engine compartment. Then the next move is you're going to then have to jack your tire, your car up. You're going to remove this tire on the front driver's side, and from there I'll show you the next steps. Is I need to remove the wheel, and then by removing the wheel I'll be able to get into some of this access up here, which is where I'm going to be routing that wire through. So I need to get in here and then kind of route it through the firewall. So I'm going to do that, and then I will kind of show you where I'm at once I've done that step. Alright, so we have the wheel off, and now I'm looking in here. There's a 10 millimeter bolt right here. There's another one there. And then otherwise, I think we're just looking at, and there's another one here. So I'm going to take those off and we're going to take a look. Alright, after removing those, it looks like we also need to potentially pry off some of these snaps. So I'm going to do that now. Alright, so I have this panel done. I took it off on the front. I was wrong. So whenever you see that one. That's obviously an Allen key. So I used this guy. Those ones came off pretty easily. And then the rest of them, these ones right there, those clips, are your snap tools. But here, so now that we've got that all off, you can see that this right here is your line. And we got clips throughout here that holds it in place. We can follow it along. Goes there, goes there, goes there. And then that's your firewall right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fish it all the way down to here, and then we're going to get to the firewall, and then we're going to go from there. And I'm going to show you, I've done this on a RAV4 before, and I didn't do a fish line when I pulled it out of the firewall, and that was a big pain. So I highly recommend doing a fish line, and I'm going to try and fasten something together for when I do it on this guy. So here's an important thing to note. So this piece right here is what locks into your door switch inside your car. And then on mostly likely on your new one, you're going to have this piece right here. And so because you got this metal piece there, you're going to need to pull it, you're going to need to feed it in through the driver's door, driver compartment, into the hood. So that means when we fish this thing out, the old one out, we're going to want to fish it out. We're going to want to take it this way and push it into the car like that. Okay? And so when we do that, we're going to want to put a fish line on this. And so what I'm going to do here is I've got a fish line, and I'm going to hook this guy onto it like that, okay? And so that way when I pull it out of the vehicle, I'll be able to pull it back with my fish line, the new one, in, back through. So that's what I'm going to do. You could do yours with a rope or pretty much anything, as long as you put it on here. This is kind of held tightly because of the clip here. If you're going to do it with a rope, I would recommend wrapping it around it, tying the rope multiple times, and then taping it up, just so that way you don't lose it when you're pulling it back through. But I'm going to fish it out now. Okay, so I have it fed back through. So now I've got this. I'm going to put this clip back onto it. I'm going to clip it into there, and I'm going to just start kind of feeding it back through underneath, and then I'm going to reassemble all of this. But I think the hardest part here is that you needed to know to take the wheel off, to take the guard off underneath in order to be able to feed it back through. And then the fishing with the fire through the firewall, I think, is important as well. There is something that you can do to make that a little bit easier. There's, at least in this vehicle, I'm not sure if this was something they did afterwards at the body shop or something, but there's this foam block. I was able to pull that out, which allowed the fishing to be much easier. I'm going to push that back up in there once I get everything kind of finalized. The other part I didn't talk through is how this latch works. But obviously, before you replace this whole cable, you're going to need to undo this, and then you're going to want to take this part right here, and you're going to feed this little clip right here gets fed into there, and you're going to want to do it up underneath through this plastic. So you're going to feed it this way, underneath, into there, and then it's going to come through that little hole right here, the slit. Then you're going to feed that little barrel looking thing through and into there, and that's going to clip into place.